top 5s, top 10,
top 20 videos.
Most gaming channels have them. How they're based. As subjective as they are, there's certain obligation towards the community to ensure that you recognize certain titles for what they represented, how they played, and most importantly, how they were remembered. Alright, so the PS3 library house incredible titles, which makes this list particularly tricky as we initially wanted to do a top 10, but after much debate, revisions, rewrites, we decided to expand this list to include our top 20 favorite PS3 games. Now if you still love playing the PS3, keen to expand your collection, especially now since most of these PS3 physical copies are still relatively cheap, or just wanted to be reminded of some of the forgotten gems, then stick around as we count down our top 20 all-time favorite PS3 games. In its 14-year lifespan for Japan, North America, and 13 years for the PAL regions, the PlayStation 3 held up some impressive numbers and has sold an estimated 87.4 million units throughout its life. It was in direct competition with the Xbox 360 and ran a very close race, even though many gamers agree that the PS3 was still considered as the superior console. But before we get carried away, here's our list. And slashing its way to our number 20, we've got Devil May Cry, released back in January 2013, built on the Unreal Engine 3. It's a reboot of the Devil May Cry series. This hack and slash action adventure offers a great story, class, awesome gameplay, powers and weapons, and some breathtaking demon-slaying combos. The game takes place in Limbo City, city controlled by demons, and you control the young Dante meets up with his long-lost brother Virgil, where he finds out about the death of his mother at the hands of Mundus, who currently controls the world through a mixture of finance, politics and media control. With a burning desire for revenge, he sets himself up to take Mundus down. For number 19, we'll head back to the lush and deadly world of the Italian Renaissance, a time where arts, riches and murderous conspiracies ruled the land. Assassin's Creed 2 was released back in November 2009 and directly follows up after the events of the first game, where Desmond is rescued by Lucy Stillman and taken to a safe house to investigate his memories of his ancestor Ezio, a new assassin carrying the deadly lineage of his ancestors. The game's open world and mission structure still amazes us, 11 years later. Stepping down to 18, and a title worthy to be included in this list, we've got the classic Deus Ex Human Revolution. Released back in August 2011, I've spent many hours playing this game, with its compelling story, advanced combat and stealth features, as well as the thrill of exploration, character development and playing as Jensen's new expansions, makes this a PS3 game to remember. At number 17, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Now, there's a lot of first-person shooters out there, but there are a few with a reputation of Call of Duty. This franchise was introduced back in 2003, and these well-made games have consistently landed on top of critical praise and award-winning heap ever since. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare offered a strong single-player campaign which intertwines a coup in the Middle Eastern states and dodgy nuclear activities in Russia. Ample multiplayer options, new maps, a good class system and some cool rewards. We felt this game offered an all-action, pumped with adrenaline gaming experience and one any gamer should experience. Now if you're looking for a bloody battle against deadly aliens, then look no further, Dead Space has you covered. That's why it's included in our number 16. In Dead Space, you play as engineer Isaac Clarke, who was on a mission to check up on his girlfriend Nicole after communication blackout aboard a giant mining spaceship named the Ishimura. Within the first few minutes of gameplay, it goes from 0 to 100 as the small crew is attacked and separated by the antagonists of the game, Necromorphs. This game offered a very immersive horror experience, and one we still vividly remember to this day. Moving on this list and sitting firm at 15, we've got Far Cry 3. With its strong, well-crafted plot, writing and voice acting, as well as the expansive single-player mode, Far Cry 3 stood far ahead most first-person shooters for the time. It in addition offers a 4-player co-op mode, map editor and competitive multiplayer. The story kicks off with its protagonist Jason, who's having a blast with his mates and 2 brothers on an island paradise, but things quickly take a turn for the worse with a skydiving trip, which gets them landing on a pirate-infested island and meeting one of the best villains created in gaming in the last few years. Good old Voss.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Jason manages to escape and sets on a quest to rescue and avenge his friends and family, but Voss, together with his gang of pirates, criminals and nutcases, won't make that journey too easy. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception slips down to our number 14, and in spite of some intense competition that Uncharted 3 faces, almost everything about this game stands out for us from what others have to offer. The gameplay, story, characters, multiplayer, graphics. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception takes place about 2 years after the events of Uncharted 2. This time Drake is looking for a treasure that both Sir Francis Drake and T.E. Lawrence were after. Ubar Iram of the Pillars, the Atlantis of the Sands. But Drake has gotten in over his head this time, as Catherine Marlowe is also looking for the lost city along with her group of men. And they'll stop at nothing from preventing Nate and Sully from getting to the city alive. What an awesome game. And down to number 13, we have to include Bioshock. Now, if you haven't played Bioshock before, then you really should. It may look a bit dated now, but it still holds up with its superb style, replay value and aesthetics. But not only that, but the story is excellent, which takes place in the underwater secret city of Rapture back in the 60s, post-World War II setting. It's got a huge twist towards the end, which was brilliantly executed. The world, setting and technical elements, for example the old-fashioned technology, music, etc., just set it apart from the rest for us. Yep, if you like a good story, consider checking out Bioshock. At number 12, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots marks its way down to our top 20. Set in 2014, 5 years after the Big Shell incident that took place in Metal Gear Solid 2, Guns of the Patriots is the first game in the long-running franchise to appear on the PS3. The storyline revolves around Old Snake's hunt for the notorious Liquid Snake, who has plans to amass an army matching the manpower of the entire United States Army. Old Snake, despite being disillusioned by his rapid aging and typical outlook on life, has been sent to track down and eliminate Liquid once and for all. We all agree that no PS3 owner should go without seeing this beautifully presented game in action. For number 11, I grew up playing Tomb Raider, and when I saw the E3 footage back in 2011 showcasing the new beautifully rendered visuals for the 2013 reboot, I was just blown away. Tomb Raider 2013 was an epic origin story and featured a much younger, inexperienced Lara Croft. On her first expedition, she joins a veteran archaeologist and documentary crew in searching the Bermuda-like Dragon's Triangle from a lost civilization. Caught in a violent storm, they shipwreck on an island and most of the crew are captured by a hostile group. Escaping captivity, it's up to Lara to rescue the crew and figure out a way off the island before they get caught by the locals or eaten by the wildlife. They really stepped down the puzzles in comparison to the regular Tomb Raider titles. This game offered action, dying scenes and plenty of... Heading down this list and sitting at our top 10, we've got Dark Souls 2, which still holds a pretty high rank on Metacritic, with most reviewers agreeing that this installment really disappoints, even with the reduced presence of director Miyazaki. Dark Souls 2 was a game we've been waiting for and remains a game where you'll die and die often. The storyline is as ever sketchy, but as you wander the land of Drangliak, you'll need to slay monsters to capture souls, which are used as both experience points for leveling up and also to purchase items from shops. Yes, this game made me rage a good amount of times, as the combat is just unforgiving and also permanently losing souls. Just all about timing and strategy, I guess, but love or hate it, Dark Souls 2 will be an experience you won't forget. For number 9, we had to place Alien Isolation, where you take on the role of Amanda Ripley, the daughter of Warrant Officer Ellen Ripley from the movies, on the quest to find out exactly what happened to her mother. This is 15 years after the events of Alien. On this horror-filled quest, you must outwit a single alien exomorph that adapt dramatically to your actions. This game was spot on with its atmospheric feel and offered plenty of suspense and horror. just highly recommended for anyone who loves this genre, and indeed a title that still stands out to us after all these years. Slipping down this list, and at our number 8, we had to go with Portal 2. The single player portion of Portal 2 introduces a cast of dynamic new characters, a lot of new puzzle elements, and a much larger set of tricky test chambers. You'll find yourself exploring never before seen areas of the Aperture Science Labs and be reunited with GLaDOS, the occasionally murderous computer companion who guided you through the original game. The game's two-player cooperative mode features its own entirely separate campaign with its unique story, test chambers, and 2 new player characters. We loved everything about Portal and felt the sequel expanded beyond the original's winning formula. Every PS3 owner should definitely consider checking this title out.
I think we can put our differences behind us. For science.
For number 7, we had to include Batman Arkham City. Now, there's no secret that most comic book games struggle to make the player feel like the superhero in question, but when you play Arkham City, you are Batman. The game takes place 1 year after the original, where Quincy Sharp is now the mayor of Gotham. He decides to close down both Arkham Asylum and Blackgate Penitentiary and create a cornered-off super prison in Gotham's slum area known as Arkham City. Bruce Wayne surprises everyone by throwing his money and personal influences into the political arena and crusade against Arkham City to have it shut down, but ultimately gets arrested and brought into the facility, and being Batman, proceeds to work as only he can. Definitely consider checking this game out. If not already, you won't be disappointed. Holding it down at number 6, we've got The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now, the Elder Scrolls series is well defended by passionate fans, and for good reason. With his long pedigree and a dedication to ambitious, expansive gameplay often results in enormously detailed environments. In Skyrim, you'd be traveling to the northern region of Tamriel, rimmed by grand snow-capped mountains and home to the Nord people. You are the Dragonborn, a prophesized hero imbued with the blood of the dragons, capable of speaking their language. The journey through Skyrim will be a complicated one, and for an open-world game, we were constantly impressed by the twists and turns of all the intertwined plot lines. Skyrim was one of the finest games of 2011 and is still regarded a classic 9 years later. We offer our highest recommendation and urge any RPG fan and really all gamers to check this one out if not already. Getting down to our top 5, and what else but God of War 3. God of War has always been a very popular franchise, and if you haven't played a game in the series before, then we'd strongly recommend you buying the God of War collection to catch yourself up in the story. The third installment on the PS3 finds Kratos raining carnage and destruction upon the gods who have betrayed him and the entire ancient Greek world. Kratos will need to take on the darkest creatures while solving complex puzzles on his merciless quest to destroy Olympus and the mighty Zeus himself. The game was polished, well written, and offered perfect gameplay. A title that we still play to this day. Down to number 4, it just had to be Grand Theft Auto 5. Rockstar Games has scaled a mountain with GTA 5, creating the best looking, best sounding, and most importantly, best playing version of gaming's most notorious franchise. GTA 5 is a masterpiece of a game. It tells the story of 3 separate men whose lives have spiraled out of control in one way or another, but none of them are trying to fix it. Our 3 playable protagonists, Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, are constantly robbing banks and running from the police. The game's Los Santos is not real LA, but a parody version, complete with parody radio stations, parody celebrities, and a parody internet. We still enjoy playing GTA 5 to this day, and can't wait for number 6. For number 3, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves blew us away and still does. That train stage, that was incredible and remained talked about to this day. Uncharted 2 and Naughty Dog set a new milestone when it comes to virtual acting and telling a story that doesn't in any way trip and fall from beginning to end. This time, the rainforest has been replaced by rocky Nepal filled with secret caves. Without giving up too much of the plot, the story centers around the hunt for the hidden village Shambhala, here interpreted as Sangrila, a mystical paradise filled with riches and guarding a magical Sintamani stone. But Nate is up against a mysterious Siberian war veteran, Lazarevich, who has his own personal reasons for wanting to get his hands on the treasure. Just an epic gaming adventure and an experience you won't easily forget. We've made it to our number 2 spot, which is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption was and still is a classic. This game is set in 1911 in the final days of the Wild West, where former outlaw turned amateur rancher John Marston is forced by evil government officials to hunt down the remains of his former gang, while his wife and son are being held hostage. The characters littering the western landscape are colorful and memorable, and the story truly gripping. After playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I just found myself replaying this game again, and it was totally fine by me. And before we get to number one, we just quickly wanted to take some time to thank all our supporters, every single one of our subscribers, everyone that's been with us through this entire journey. Thank you so much, guys, and we got some great videos planned and hope to share that with you soon. So if not already, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe, get the notifications going, and share this video. That would really help us out. Thanks again. And our top PS3 game can only be The Last of Us. The game made a profound impact on how I view storytelling in games. The game trains on familiar ground for video games, with a post-apocalyptic world filled with infected humans hungry for flesh. But Naughty Dog uses the grim backdrop to tell a dramatic tale about a man and a girl he must protect. Similar to the stories told in The Walking Dead and The Road, the narrative impact is found less in the moment-to-moment action and more about what Joel and Ellie say or don't say. It's a powerful story with unlikely bonds that I won't risk spoiling for.
What are you doing?
Killing time.
Thanks for watching, guys. It's always difficult to come up with these type of lists, especially when you know the PlayStation 3 produced a lot of great and iconic games. So if you agree with this list, disagree, if you feel like we missed a couple, let us know in the comments below. Also have a question: what is your favorite PlayStation 3 game of all time? As always, let us know in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Till next time, see ya.